I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here telling all this, but honestly, I need to get it off my chest. Maybe it'll help someone else see the signs before it's too late. So here's the deal. I met Emily about 4 years ago. She was gorgeous, smile that could light up a room, sharp wit, a bit bitchy, but in a way that sort of made you want to chase her. We got married last year, or at least I thought we did. I proposed on what I thought was our wedding day, a Saturday afternoon at the park with friends and family there. It was perfect, or so I thought. From the start, things felt a little off. Emily's been kinda bitchy lately, snapping at me over nothing, canceling plans last minute, acting secretive. At first, I figured it was stress, work, life, whatever. She's been under a lot of pressure at her job, working late, sometimes till 10 or 11 p.m. I tried to be understanding, thinking maybe she just needed space. But then, little things started piling up that didn't add up. She'd come home smelling like perfume I didn't recognize, brushing me off when I asked about it, snapping at me for accusing her of cheating. She'd get defensive, denying everything, and then turn around and accuse me of not trusting her. It was weird. Honestly, I started feeling like I was going crazy. Sometimes I'd catch her lying about stuff. I'd ask her what she did over the weekend, and she'd come up with some bullshit story. Or she'd say she was working late and then I'd see her out with her friends, no work involved. But what really made my stomach turn was the day I decided to check her phone. Just a gut feeling. I mean, I don't normally do that stuff, but something about her behavior made me suspicious. So I took her phone when she was in the shower. And what I saw, I still can't believe it. There were messages, flirty, suggestive messages between her and her boss, Jason. They weren't just friendly work chats. They were full-on sexting. I saw screenshots of their texts talking about how much they wanted each other, what they'd do if they were alone, and even plans to meet up. And the worst part, the night I proposed, she told me she was working late. That night that she was with her boss, Jason, wrapping up some project. But her messages told a different story. They had sex, I'm pretty sure. I found photos, naked selfies, close-up shots, the kind of stuff you don't send unless you're serious. The messages said things like, "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was so much better than I expected. And don't tell anyone, especially not your wife." That was the moment everything shattered inside me. I stayed up all night staring at those messages, feeling this gnawing pit in my stomach. I kept asking myself, how long has this been going on? Did she ever really love me? Was I just some placeholder while she fucked her boss? The betrayal cut deep. It wasn't just the sex, though that hurt like hell, it was the lies. The way she manipulated everything. She'd always been a good liar, good at hiding what she was doing, and that made everything worse. It's like she was playing me the entire time with her bitchy attitude, her cold dismissiveness, all the while sneaking around with Jason. When I finally confronted her, I was angry, no, furious. I found her in the kitchen drinking wine, trying to act like nothing was wrong. I slammed her phone down on the table and said, "Tell me what the hell is going on." She looked up at me, eyes cold, and said, "You're overreacting, you're paranoid, nothing happened." She lied through her teeth. I could see it in her face, the guilt, the panic. She kept insisting that Jason was just a coworker, that it was nothing serious, that I was blowing things out of proportion. But I knew better. I knew she'd been lying about everything. That night I felt like I was drowning. My mind was racing, thoughts of betrayal, of all the times she was dishonest, the lies she spun, the fake smile she always wore. I didn't sleep. I kept replaying that night over and over, trying to catch some sign I missed, but there was nothing. Just her cold, deflective attitude, her lies, her bitchy smirk when I pressed her. I hated her for it. I hated myself for not realizing sooner. How could I have missed all the signs? And the worst part, I had proposed to her just days before, thinking we were solid. Turns out she'd been screwing her boss behind my back the entire time. That's where I am now, completely shattered, trying to piece together what's left of my life. I don't even know which way to turn. Do I confront her again? Do I pack my bags and walk away? Or do I try to forgive her and pretend none of this happened? Honestly, I don't think I can ever trust her again. I feel stupid for loving someone who's been lying to me so blatantly. But part of me still hopes I'm reading this wrong, that maybe there's some reason she's done this, though deep down I know better. I just wish I could go back and do things differently, but right now, I feel like I'm just surviving day to day, waiting for the next bomb to drop. After I found those messages, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and honestly, I felt numb. I kept replaying that night over and over, her cold reaction, her denial, the way she lied to my face. I was furious, but there was also this deep ache of betrayal that I couldn't shake. I decided I had to confront her again, face her head on, and get some clarity, even if I already knew the truth was staring me right in the face. The next morning, I waited until she left for work. I needed to get some space, some time to think. I ransacked her side of the closet, found that damn phone again, and took pictures of all the evidence, screenshots, her messages, the photos. I wasn't planning to do anything right away. I just needed proof. I wanted to see her face when she lied, to catch her every time she tried to deny it. And let me tell you, she tried to deny everything when I confronted her that afternoon. She came home, acting all innocent, the same bitchy smirk on her face. I showed her the pictures. Her eyes widened, and for a second I thought she might crack, but then she straightened up and started with her usual bullshit. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything. I was drunk or lonely and Jason was there for me." She spat out those words like they meant nothing, like she was trying to downplay everything. I wasn't buying it. I lost my temper. I told her I knew. About the sexting, about the sex, about how she had been lying to me the entire time. Her response: she called me paranoid, crazy, and said I was just insecure. She said that I was possessive and suffocating her. That was classic Emily, blame shifting, deflecting, making herself the victim. But I saw through her act. It was all a big joke to her, a game, and I was just another piece she was moving around. The more she talked, the angrier I got. I felt like I was losing my mind. How could someone I loved so deeply do this to me? How could she lie so effortlessly, then turn around and call me the problem? I couldn't take her bullshit anymore. I told her to pack her shit and leave right then and there. She started crying, fake tears streaming down her face, trying to manipulate me into feeling guilty. "You're overreacting," she repeated. "You don't understand. Jason means nothing. It was a mistake, a one-time thing. I love you. You're just being insecure because I've been working late, that's all." I looked at her, disgusted. I felt like I was seeing a different person, someone I never knew. Someone who could lie so easily, cheat so blatantly, then act like I was the crazy one for catching her. It hit me hard, and I knew I had to make a decision. Was I going to keep living in this nightmare, or was I going to cut her out of my life? I told her to leave and never come back, that I needed space to clear my head. She left in a flurry of tears and shouting, but honestly, I didn't care. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, like my entire world was falling apart. That night I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the empty space where she used to sleep. The house felt cold, hollow. I kept thinking about all the promises she broke, all the lies she told, all the times I looked the other way because I loved her. How could I have been so blind? Why did I believe her when she insisted everything was fine? The worst part wasn't even the sex or the cheating. It was the betrayal of trust, the way she made a fool out of me. I kept asking myself, was she ever really honest? Did she ever love me? And the answer kept coming back the same: no, she never really did. I also kept going over her words. She said it was just sex, just a mistake, that Jason meant nothing. But I knew better. I'd seen the texts, the photos. I knew that night with Jason wasn't just some drunken mistake. It was planned. It was real. And she lied about everything, right down to our wedding date. I found out from her family that she had lied to everyone, said we got married on a different day, that I'd proposed earlier, that we had a normal relationship. All lies. Just like her, all fake. I felt so stupid for trusting her, for loving someone so manipulative. I kept thinking about how she would spin this. She's always been good at twisting things around, making herself seem innocent. And I'm pretty sure she's already working on her story to tell her friends, her family, anyone who will listen. I don't know if I'll ever get over this, but I do know I can't stay. I can't live with that kind of betrayal every day. I need to figure out what's next, whether I fight to save what's left or just walk away and forget her. Either way, I realize now that I have to protect myself from people like her, people who lie straight to your face and cheat behind your back. It's a hard lesson, but one I refuse to ignore. The days after the confrontation were a blur. I felt like I was walking around in a fog, numb, disconnected from everything. My friends kept telling me I should kick her out, move on, but part of me still wanted to understand why she did it. I kept replaying those late-night texts, her smug little smirks in her photos, and all the time she acted like she was the victim whenever I questioned her. It was like I was dealing with a master manipulator, someone who knew exactly how to twist things to her advantage. I didn't want to believe that someone I loved so much could do this to me, but the evidence was undeniable. Every time I looked at her messages, her selfies, her dismissive attitude, I felt this rising wave of anger. Not just anger, deep, pure rage. How dare she? How could she screw around with her boss behind my back on? The night I proposed, that was the ultimate slap in the face, a sick joke at my expense. I decided I needed some space, so I checked into a hotel for a few nights. Honestly, I didn't want to be home alone with my thoughts. The room was cold and sterile, and I didn't sleep much. The worst part was the empty bed. Her side still had her scent, that weird floral perfume I hated but tolerated because I loved her. Now, all I could think about was how she had lied to me for months, maybe longer. She made me feel like I was crazy for asking questions, for doubting her. And now I knew better. I knew she'd been lying all along. How do you come back from that? During those nights alone, I started questioning everything. Did she love me at all, or was I just some placeholder to her, someone to keep around while she fucked her boss? That night with Jason wasn't just about sex. It was about control, about her feeling wanted and powerful. I saw the way she flirted, the way she teased Jason in her texts. It was like I didn't even exist anymore. I remember feeling so hurt, so betrayed that I almost couldn't breathe. When I finally decided to go back home, I knew I had to confront her one more time, or maybe decide that enough was enough. I didn't want to be the guy who's just a fool for love, blinded by what I thought was a perfect marriage. But part of me still hoped she'd own up, admit she screwed up, and maybe we could work things out. Yeah, right. That was wishful thinking. I already knew she wouldn't. Emily's the type who lies with such ease. She probably convinced herself that her shit doesn't stink. So I came back and found her sitting on the couch, pretending to be calm. She looked me in the eyes, and I could see she was trying to put on that bitchy, dismissive face she always used. I threw the phone on the table in front of her and told her I knew everything. Her reaction: she scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said, "You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's just sex. He's just my boss." It meant nothing. She said it like I was supposed to accept her bullshit. Like her sex with Jason was just some meaningless fling, but I knew better. I felt something inside me snap. I told her that I'd seen her messages, her photos, everything. I told her I didn't believe a word she said anymore. And then I asked her one thing: how long has this been going on? Her face twitched and she tried to deny it, but I saw her eyes dart away. She mumbled something about a mistake, a moment of weakness, and blamed the stress of her job. Classic Emily, blame everyone else, never herself. She insisted she never loved Jason, that it was just sex, just a stupid mistake, but I wasn't buying her act anymore. My mind was racing. I felt betrayed, angry, heartbroken, all at once. I told her she needed to leave, that I couldn't stay under the same roof with someone who lied so much. Her eyes watered and she started crying, but it was fake. Those crocodile tears didn't fool me anymore. She begged, said she loved me, that she'd change, that she'd stop seeing Jason. But her words felt hollow. I knew this wasn't about love. It was about manipulation, about her wanting to keep her secrets. I told her to pack her shit and go. She refused at first, trying to guilt-trip me, saying I was overreacting, that I was being paranoid. But I was done. I didn't want her in my life anymore if she was just going to keep lying, cheating, and playing me for a fool. When she finally gathered her things and left, I felt this strange mix of relief and emptiness. It was like losing a part of myself. I'd been so blind, so trusting, and now I was left with this wreckage. That night I was alone in the apartment and everything just hit me all at once. I kept looking at her side of the bed, still smelling her scent and feeling this deep ache in my chest. I thought about the wedding, about how happy I'd been that day and how everything had been a lie. I kept asking myself, why did she do it? Was I just not enough? did I mean nothing. The pain was overwhelming. I wanted to hate her, but part of me still loved her, even knowing what she did. It's a strange feeling, this mix of heartbreak, anger, and complete disillusionment. And now I'm sitting here telling all of this, realizing that some people are just incapable of honest love. Emily wasn't just cheating, she was lying about everything, including our relationship, our future, our wedding day. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I'll never trust her again. That's the hardest part, learning that the person you love can be so completely fake, so utterly selfish, that they destroy everything just for some fleeting moment of pleasure with someone else. I guess I needed to say this out loud, because right now, it just hurts too much to keep inside. The aftermath of her leaving was a whirlwind of emotions I didn't know how to process. I spent days trying to piece together what had happened, trying to convince myself I'd miss her, that maybe I overreacted, but deep down I knew the truth. She had lied so much, manipulated me so well that I couldn't see her in the same light anymore. Every time I thought about her, I remembered those messages, those photos, the way she looked at me with that fake, innocent expression. It all felt like a sick joke. I'd been played for years. One thing I realized quickly was how much I'd been blind to the signs. Those little comments she made, the dismissive look she gave me when I questioned her. I'd always blamed stress, work, or just her being bitchy. But now I saw it for what it was, her way of hiding her affair. She was so good at lying, so good that I convinced myself she was just stressed or tired, not actively cheating on me. That was my mistake, and I felt stupid for not seeing it sooner. I started talking to friends, some of whom I'd known for years, about what happened. They were pissed, too, shocked that I'd been so betrayed. Some told me I should cut her out of my life completely, that she didn't deserve my trust or my love anymore. Others argued I should try to forgive and move on, but I couldn't see how that would work. Not after finding out she'd been lying to me for God knows how long. Not after discovering she was screwing her boss behind my back on the night I proposed. That night was supposed to be my happiest moment, and instead, it's burned into my memory as the day I realized I'd married a liar. I also started to think about the wedding. It was a beautiful day, or at least I thought so, but now I'm questioning everything. Did she really love me? Was it all just a performance? I found out she lied about the date, said we got married a week earlier than we actually did. She even changed details about our vows, about the promises she made. All fake. I guess she never really cared about those promises. She just wanted a show, a way to keep me hooked. The thing that hurt most was her constant denial, her insistence that it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything, that she didn't love Jason, that she never loved him. But I saw the texts, the photos, heard the tone in her messages. It was obvious she was into him, that she was getting something she wasn't getting from me. And the worst part, she didn't care how much she hurt me. She said she loved me, but her actions proved otherwise. I started to question everything about us, what I could have done differently, how I missed all these signs. Maybe I was just too blind, too in love to see the truth. Maybe I should have been more suspicious, more demanding. But love blinds you, especially when you trust someone so completely. Now all I feel is this hollow ache, like a part of me is gone forever. I tried talking to her family just to get some clarity, but they're all in the dark. She spun her lies, told them she was working late that night, that I was overreacting. They're probably still clueless, or maybe they're just covering for her. Either way, I realized I couldn't trust her family anymore either. They're supposed to be close, but I saw how quick they were to dismiss my concerns, how easily they buy her stories. That's when I saw that Emily's manipulative streak runs deep. She's always been good at controlling the narrative, at making everyone believe her version of the story. Honestly, I felt like I was drowning in a sea of deception. My heart was broken, my trust shattered, and I was left questioning everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. I kept telling myself I'd find a way through this, that time would heal. But right now, it just feels like I'm stuck in this painful limbo. I don't know if I'll ever fully get over this, but I do know I can't stay in the same place. I have to move forward, even if that means starting over alone. One thing I've realized is how much I valued honesty. I always thought I was a straightforward guy, loyal, dependable. But I see now that even that can be shattered by someone who's so good at hiding the truth. Emily's lies made me question everything, made me doubt myself and my judgment. I trusted her more than anyone, and she threw it all away with a few sexts and a fake smile. That realization hurts the worst, that someone so close to you, someone you gave your heart to, can betray you so completely. So I've decided I need to get away from her to focus on myself for a while. No contact. No trying to fix what's broken. I need space to breathe, to think, to heal. And honestly, I don't know what's next. Maybe I'll file for divorce. Maybe I'll just disappear for a bit and then see where life takes me. The only thing I'm sure of is that I won't let her betrayal define me. I'll rebuild my life, but I'll do it without her. I've learned that some wounds run too deep, and trust isn't something you can just repair overnight. Sometimes the damage is permanent and you have to accept that. After making the decision to move on, I started to focus on myself. I needed to heal, to regain some sense of stability in my life. I removed all her stuff from the apartment, packed it up and put it in storage. It felt like erasing her presence, even though every corner, every piece of furniture seemed haunted by her memory. I couldn't stand to look at her side of the bed without feeling the betrayal anew. I told myself that I deserved better than a woman who could lie and cheat so effortlessly, who could pretend to love me while secretly screwing her boss. The hardest part was dealing with the anger and the shame. I kept asking myself why I didn't see it coming, why I was so blind. I'd been so in love that I ignored all the warning signs, the little snide comments, the dismissive attitude, the broken promises. I thought I was just being paranoid, but deep down, I knew I'd missed all the clues. I felt a mix of regret and frustration, regret for loving her so much, frustration at myself for not noticing sooner. It was a cycle I couldn't break free from. One night, I sat down and went through all the messages again, trying to find some closure. Seeing her sex with Jason, her flirtatious texts, the naked selfies, everything confirmed what I already knew. But it also made me realize something else. Her lies were a way to control the narrative. She'd spun her stories so well that even her family believed her version. I saw how she gaslighted me, how she made me question my own judgment. That realization made me even more determined to stay clear of her, to not let her manipulate me anymore. I started seeing a therapist to work through the emotional fallout. It was tough at first, admitting I was a victim of betrayal, facing the hurt, the anger, the shame. But gradually, I began to understand that I wasn't at fault. Some people are just capable of horrible things, and I was unlucky enough to fall for one of them. Still, I refused to let her ruin me entirely. I made it a point to reconnect with friends I'd been distant from, to focus on my career, to find new hobbies. It was about rebuilding a life that wasn't centered around her lies. Meanwhile, she kept trying to contact me. At first, I ignored her, but then she sent a few desperate texts, apologizing in her way, saying she'd made a mistake, that she loved me and wanted to fix everything. I'd read those messages and just delete them. I knew she was manipulating again, trying to guilt me into taking her back. But I was done. No more second chances for someone who lied so thoroughly. I told her clearly that I wanted no contact, that I needed space to heal. It was hard, but I stuck to it. The bigger shock was how quickly her life seemed to move on. I saw her posting on social media with her new friends, acting like nothing had happened. Meanwhile, I was stuck in this emotional limbo, trying to suppress the bitterness inside me. Every time I saw her smiling, I remembered what she'd done. And it felt like a punch to the gut. Seeing her so carefree made me realize just how much damage she'd caused. It's like she's gone on without a second thought, while I'm stuck wrestling with all these feelings of loss and betrayal. Looking back, I realize there are lessons here. Trust is fragile. Love can blind you. And some people are just better at hiding their true selves than you think. I learned that I have to be more cautious, more aware, and not ignore the signs of someone's true character. I also learned that forgiveness isn't always possible or healthy. Sometimes, you just have to accept that some betrayals cut too deep, and moving on is the only way to find peace. I won't lie, I still have days when I feel the pain like it just happened. There's a part of me that hopes one day I'll be able to look back and see this as a chapter of growth rather than a tragedy. For now, I'm taking small steps. I'm working on myself, trying to rebuild my confidence, and reminding myself that I deserve honesty and respect. No matter how much I loved her, I know now that some people aren't worth my loyalty if they're willing to throw me away for a quick fuck with their boss. I don't regret loving her because I genuinely did, but I regret trusting her blindly, ignoring the signs, and not seeing who she really was. That's on me. But I'm learning, I'm healing. And someday I hope to find someone who values honesty, who won't lie and cheat behind my back. Because no matter how painful it is now, I know I'll come out of this stronger. I just have to keep moving forward, one step at a time. It's been a few months since she left, and honestly, I'm still trying to piece myself back together. Some days are better than others, but the pain of betrayal lingers like a bad smell I can't shake. I keep reminding myself that I deserve someone honest, someone who values me for who I am, not just as a backup or a placeholder. The thing I've come to accept is that trust, once broken this badly, is almost impossible to rebuild. And maybe that's okay. Maybe I don't need her or anyone like her in my life anymore. One of the biggest lessons I've learned through all this is that people often hide their true selves behind smiles and lies. Emily was so good at pretending to be the perfect wife, the loving partner, but underneath it all, she was just selfish and manipulative. It's a hard lesson to swallow, but I'm glad I saw her true colors before I committed to a lifetime of her lies. Now I see clearly. Love isn't just about the good times or the promises. It's about honesty, loyalty, and respect. She didn't give me any of that. I've also realized that healing takes time. You can't rush the process of trusting again or forgetting what's been lost. Sometimes you just have to sit with the pain, face it head on, and let it teach you what you need to know. For me, that's been about rebuilding my sense of self, finding my confidence again, rediscovering my passions, and surrounding myself with real friends who support me. I've started going to the gym, picking up old hobbies, and even exploring new ones. It's not just about distraction, it's about reclaiming my life. Looking at her social media, I see her moving on, acting like everything's fine. And honestly, I don't envy her. If anything, I feel a strange sense of relief. She's out there doing her thing, probably still lying and manipulating others just like she did with me. And I'm finally at a point where I can see her for who she really is, someone who never truly loved me, just used me as a stepping stone. That realization hurts, but it also frees me. I don't have to carry her anymore. I now understand that sometimes the hardest thing to do is to let go. To accept that someone you trusted and loved can betray you so profoundly. But it's also necessary. It's about protecting yourself from future heartbreak, about recognizing your own worth. I don't regret loving her because I did genuinely love her, but I do regret not seeing her for who she was sooner. If I had, maybe I wouldn't have been so blindsided. As I close this chapter, I want others to know that betrayal hurts, but it doesn't have to define you. You can survive it, even if it feels like the end of the world right now. It's about choosing to heal, to move forward, and to learn from the pain. Trust is precious, and once broken, it's hard to repair. So be cautious, be honest with yourself and others, and never settle for someone who lies and cheats to get what they want. Most importantly, don't forget your own worth. You're better than being used or lied to. Take the time to heal, to reflect, and to rebuild your life on your own terms. Because in the end, the only person you truly need to trust is yourself. And no matter how deep the hurt, there's always hope for a better tomorrow.